So today we are taking a look at a watch from Timex that came out a few weeks back and at the time received a fair amount of hype on social media. The watch is the Q Timex Chronograph. This came out in both a Panda and a reverse Panda configuration on either leather or bracelet. I ended up opting for the reverse Panda on leather. It's a very cool watch, but mine did have a bit of a QC issue we'll talk about here in just a minute. So let's get to it and check out the watch. Now, one thing I've been hearing fairly often is a lot of people are reporting QC issues with their Timex watches. I've bought, I'm not sure, maybe 5 or 6 new Timex watches directly from Timex over the past 2 or 3 years, and I haven't experienced any problems. This one, though, had a pretty large piece of dust on the 6 o'clock subdial. Didn't notice it until I had the watch a few days and was taking some macro shots of it for this video, actually. But now I did have the option to return the watch, but I ended up opening it up and hitting it with my little dust blower, and that did the trick. If you're getting one, I would just suggest giving it a really good once over ahead of the 30-day return period. So, yeah, it's too bad that there's a bit of a gamble when you're picking one of these up as far as QC issues go. Although I do feel like the watches with them are in the minority, at least from the experience I have of the watches I've purchased from Timex. So, otherwise, their watch releases lately have been very cool. And to me, in the last couple of years, this is my favorite from a design perspective. I like the vintage style, and almost anything Panda dial or reverse Panda just grabs me too. So the style is there, but what about the rest of the watch? Well, even taking away the QC issue I had, the watch isn't perfect, but all stuff I was expecting going in. The dial is a glossy black dial with applied hour markers. I was kind of on the fence about the large Q marker at the 12 at first, but I like it. Something a little different. Down at the 4:30 mark is that date. It's small but still legible. The subdials are kind of a creamy color sometimes, more of a silver depending on the lighting. At the 9 o'clock is the running seconds. At 6 is the now dust-free minutes for the chronograph. Then at the 3 is the time in 24 hours, which I don't know. I don't want to call it useless, but an hour totalizer for the chronograph would be better. We'll get the chronograph fired up here, and one thing to mention is that top pusher. There's no feedback really at all, so it has you second guessing if you've actually engaged the chronograph sometimes. Same goes for stopping it. It's a little bit on the mushy side. The reset pusher has a slight click to it, but the action on that top pusher is definitely lacking. So as far as legibility goes, with the glossy dial, you can sometimes lose the hands depending on how the light hits them, and the legibility suffers in low light too. The lume is pretty weak. The hands have a stronger initial brightness than the markers. The markers are tough to read after just a couple of minutes, and the hands follow suit shortly after that. So not the greatest lume. The case finish is not too bad. It's decent. It's okay for an affordable watch like this. The case design overall, though, is super cool. Gotta love that 70s style. The tachometer appears to be an aluminum insert, but I couldn't confirm that for sure. The battery access port is another fun throwback, and it's pretty handy too to be able to easily swap batteries without any special tools if you need to. Size on the watch comes in at a case width of 40.2 millimeters. It's a lugless design, but the effective lug to lug is 46.4 millimeters. It takes 18 millimeter straps, and the thickness on the watch is 14.4 millimeters. Water resist is 50 meters, and the crystal, which I think really adds to the overall look of the watch, is a mineral crystal. The strap is actually better than expected. I didn't notice it at first, but it is stamped with SB Foot Tanning Co. on the back of the strap. They're the main supplier to Red Wing Shoe Company. They're a company that's been around for a very long time. I find it hard to pass judgment on leather straps after only a few weeks of wear, but I think this one's going to hold up well over time. And here is a look on my 7¼ inch wrist. And even with its flaws, it's just such a fun watch to wear. Wish the QC was a little better, but I think if you keep that in mind and give your watch a close look when you first get it, you should be okay. Cost on these is $199 USD on leather, $219 on the bracelet. And if you wait a bit, you should be able to find these at a discount. So that is it. Appreciate you taking a few minutes to stop by, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.